So in the aftermath of Apple's headline backtrack on screening all your photos on your iPhone, this really raises the questions of what else is happening to the photos you store, particularly where Google is concerned.
A lot about Apple's CSAM features, and there's been a massive backtrack, which, to be honest, no one was that surprised about because, Apple's the company of privacy. People were saying Google has these similar features anyway, but we don't really know very much about them. So Apple suffered this big backlash. What's going on with Google? What exactly does Google do in terms of accessing your photos?
So the backlash was very predictable. What Apple had done is it said, look, the real issue is if we scan all their content in the cloud, that's a privacy violation. So on their device, which is nice and private, we can filter and say, look, it's only these very small number of photos that we need to look at. So we'll leave everything else alone. And they don't currently screen photos in iCloud. So it seemed like a good idea, clearly landed as badly as anything could land from an Apple perspective. But Apple runs all of its machine learning on the device anyway. So when it's categorizing your photos and looking through, it's all doing that on the device. Google does it completely differently. It does everything in the cloud. So all the screening and scanning and categorization, Google does with cloud-based AI. So Google is already screening for CSAM in the cloud. What this raises the question of, if this is a really big privacy violation as far as Apple is concerned, well, clearly it is where Google is concerned, and Google's already doing that. So buried beneath the CSAM backlash and backtrack, there is yet another attack by Apple on Google and its business model.
Is the real problem here, if we get down to the heart of this, is this just a complete misunderstanding, a misgauging of the technological savvy of users these days, how we've increased our understanding of issues so that optics, PR, the message that we put out initially is really important now, more than it ever used to be. These companies can't just pull the wool over our eyes anymore. The public are wise to it. What do they need to do differently? Do they need to be more transparent, more honest? Is that ever going to happen?
I think it's a great question. And I think there is a huge issue right now, which is in essence, particularly where Google and Facebook are concerned, we've allowed a situation to encourage us all where our data is fair game. And, it's there sitting in these huge data sets with these billion-dollar algorithms mining it constantly, and we're unaware of it. Apple has brought more transparency and everyone else has kind of come along a bit kicking and screaming, but it's still going on. I get inundated with Android users, for example, saying, I've seen what you've said about iPhone and Apple users. How can I protect myself from Google mining my data if I'm using Android? And you're like, that is the point of Android. You get that, right? That is what it does. That's how Google makes its money. So I just think that people need to understand. I know we say it, and I know it's trite, but it is true. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product, right? Your data is there to be mined. And so what Apple is saying is, look, you put all your data in iCloud, it's not being mined by algorithms. Clearly it is being mined by algorithms where Google is concerned. The question is it purely for your convenience to categorize and help you search your photos, or are there monetization schemes going on in the background as well that in essence Google can make money from? And that is a big question where there isn't enough transparency for sure.